All right. Hey, friends. Welcome back to Just Nicole, Life Changes After 40. I know I say this every time I record a podcast that I'm super excited for the guests that I'm bringing on, but today I really am excited to have Tia Dowler with me. Tia and I met 7 years ago through our beauty business. And, you know, I mentioned in the podcast earlier that sometimes you're a little intimidated to say hi to somebody who you think is very vibrant and, you know, beautiful. And you want to be friends with that person, but you're just a little afraid to say hi. That's how I felt with Tia. And I couldn't be more blessed and thankful to now call her one of my beauty besties because I did take that leap of faith and said hi. So thank you, Tia.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I hate that you felt that way.
You know,
I don't bite. I don't bite.
Hard.
Yeah, I don't bite too hard. I'm just kidding.
But I think that is the case sometimes with girls. And I'm sure boys feel the same way, but sometimes we're just a little intimidated, and so we don't want to say hi. And then we come off as maybe being a little like, oh, I'm not sure about her. But when we do say hi, how amazing friendships can be built. So glad to have you.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you did, because you are one of my beauty besties. I can't believe it's been 7 years.
I know. Time goes by so fast. So fast.
It does. Yeah.
So before we get started, I would love to have you just tell us a little bit about yourself so that everybody listening knows exactly why I think you are just a badass friend and one that I'm glad to have in my tribe. So tell us a little bit.
Well, thank you. So I am a mom of 5. I married my college sweetheart. I was a cheerleader in college. He was a football player, and that like so cliche, but that's kind of what happened. And we have 5. I'm now a mom of 5 big kids. So I have my oldest son is married. I have a daughter-in-law now. No grandkids yet. So we're not going to put that out in the atmosphere because not ready to be a grandmother. I mean, I am one of these days, but not yet. So, but I was a high school biology teacher, got into pharmaceutical sales after that, then just had baby after baby after baby after baby after baby, and moved around a lot. We, with my husband's job, not military. Everybody thinks he was military. No, just in insurance. We lived down here in just south of Atlanta, Georgia. And I don't think we're moving again. I think we really like it here. I mean, we liked all the other places, but now with the ages of our kids, you know, they're older, so they're, you know, establishing their roots and all that stuff. And I just always want to be where my kids are. So I just
get that.
Yeah, I mean, if one of my middle son is in college, his senior year up in Wisconsin, and that's far. It's just far away, and it makes me sad. You know, I mean, it's great with technology. We can FaceTime, but it's just not the same. Yeah. So I'm going to look forward to when he comes back. But anyway, so other than that, so when I was pregnant with number 5, I started making jewelry. Mm-hmm. And so I was a jewelry designer and just was all over the place with that. And then I guess about 10, 11 years ago, got to the beauty business online, and just pretty much a serial entrepreneur, you know, just a hustler. Like I get bored very, very easily. So I like to do a lot of things. Like I still do my jewelry business, but that's more of, you know, it's kind of my creative outlet, I guess. Yeah. And I think that we all need something that kind of takes us away. 2 of my sons have type 1 diabetes. So I started that journey in my jewelry business as really just a hobby, just to have something else to think about other than counting carbs, counting insulin, doing all that math and all the things of just taking care of type 1 diabetic children. And it just became a business. And then, you know, I got online and really grew that business, and then got into the beauty business. That's been a huge passion of mine for a very, very long time. And that's how we met. So, you know, and I'm here just kind of doing all the things, and, you know, they all kind of mesh together. So it's like I have a very large brand, but, you know, the thing that I love about it is that I'm able to connect with so many different people, you know. Yep. So some people came into my life through the jewelry business. Also got my training certification during the COVID shutdown. So I'm a big really big into bodybuilding. And so I have people that come to me for that, just a lot of different things. And I love it because it's always changing and it's always something very different. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yep. And I love that. And I've shared a little bit with you that my joy or passion for this, or my passion really for 2024 is if it doesn't bring me joy and it doesn't empower women, then I have to say no. And so when I wanted to talk about finding your tribe on this episode, I thought of you right away, because I feel like mindset wise, you are in the same place. You are always looking to help other people and empower other women, whether it's, just through being a mom, your beauty business, through making them feel beautiful with their jewelry, all the things that you do.
Yeah.
And, this podcast is for women over 40. And, as we transition through so many different phases of our life, as our kids grow up, as you become, a mom with married children and grandkids to come, I feel like we shift gears into different friend groups, finding your tribe. And, what would you say, like moving into different phases of your life, what makes you really passionate about finding the right people to align yourself with?
So I buried my dad 2 months ago, and I tell you, if you haven't lost a parent, it's so hard, and so many people have said these things to me and have given me advice, and you listen to it, but unless you experience it, it's really hard to really grasp. And going back to his house, clearing out everything, and there's just all this stuff, and that it's like you don't take it with you when you die. And at the end of the day, all of that stuff doesn't matter. And I've always known that, and I've always lived by that, but now I see it on a very deep level. And so for me, relationships, like, I'll be 53 this year. I really enjoyed my 40s. My 40s were amazing. I'm actually enjoying my 50s even more. And I'm honestly can't believe I'm even saying that. So, you realize that things don't matter. It's the relationships that you have, and that, those connections that you have. So I'm very, very, very picky in who I want to spend time with. And, I have very high standards now. My standards are so high, and they are because I can provide what I require. So if somebody's coming into my life and they're draining my energy, draining my spirit, and not all your friends love you. I mean, we all have friends who secretly hate us, and if we do, it's the truth, and it is what it is. But for me, it's that the older that I've gotten, I am too old for forced interactions and meaningless conversations. I don't want to talk about chit chat and the weather, or a TV show that you've been watching, or this or that, like just meaningless stuff. I want to know, do you have any regrets? How's your sex life? How have you stayed married this long? Like, what's your secret? What's the best advice that you've ever been given in your life? Like, I want to talk about those kind of things. I just don't want to talk about the other stuff that honestly is not, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So that, for me, I'm very, very picky. And when I use the F word, the friend word, it's a very, very, the older you get, your circle is going to be smaller and smaller. And I tell you, my dad always gave me the best advice. And I remember going to him, after starting my online business, and, you'll get more support if you think that your friends and family are going to be there to support you, then you're lying to yourself, because they are going to be the last people to support you. But you have to keep showing up every day. And, people didn't understand what I was doing as I was developing and growing and stuff. And my dad told me years ago, he said, if you're not losing friends, then you're not growing up. And it's true.
It's very
and
true.
you have to surround yourself with people who, have the same goals. I'm the type of friend that I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And that comes from a place of love, because if you're surrounding yourself with friends who are supporting your comfort zone, your bad habits, they don't love you as much as the friend that you have that is going to challenge you to be better and do better. And that's just the simple truth.
Yep. And I think too, those friend groups, they change so much. My husband used to always say to me, the people that you were friends with in high school, they ain't going to be the same friends that you have today. And while I argue that a little bit, because I do still have a lot of the same friends, they're not the
Me
ones I hang
too.
out with on a regular basis, right?
Sure.
But finding that group of friends that supports you, but pushes you
Mm-hmm.
and helps you grow, I think is so big, because I too want people to push me. They
Yeah.
see potential and to say, hey, you can do more than that, instead of just being afraid. Me closing the
Mm-hmm.
boutique, you took a step back from your jewelry business a little bit here in the last couple of years because it just wasn't perfectly right for you.
Right.
But when you're ready to go back, it's there.
It is.
Having people who are, you can do this, you can get through
Mm-hmm.
this, and to help support you, I think is a huge thing. So, one of the things I wanted to touch base on, because it is what brought us together, is, our beauty business. And I think too that with that business, having like-minded individuals who you can call on to support, you have been one of the biggest supporters for me. You don't make a penny off of me
Mm-hmm.
when I sell or don't sell, or, don't share a product, but you've always been there. And I think there's a lot of people who will be listening to this who are like, that's her face, that's her voice. I've seen her name everywhere because she's always been so supportive. So what makes you so driven to help other people the way you do?
So so after my first son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I went through a really, really deep depression because we as moms, we fix things, we make things better. And when you're faced with something that you can't fix, you can't change, you can't do anything about it, it is a very, very difficult pill to swallow. And that's when I decided to, and this was back in 2006. This was before online classes, before social media was. I mean, this is back in the MySpace days. This is before, the Facebook, all of that. And I just wanted to teach myself. I just needed something to occupy my time to get me out of this depression of constantly worrying every single day if my child was going to wake up or not. And so I started reading books. I bought myself a soldering iron, a bunch of metal. I just looked at pictures, and I didn't take any classes. I'm self-taught, and I just kept trying over and over and over and over and over again. And then we were living in Texas, and the jewelry that I was making was really, really big in Texas. I was always going to all these different fairs and where all these boutiques, would have all of their handmade jewelry. And I was just getting inspiration, not copying it, but taking what I love from other elements and creating it and making it my own for what I like. And then as, the internet started to, advance, then there were so many other jewelry artists that were doing very similar work that I was doing. And I reached out to so many of them. They were nasty. They were absolutely nasty. And then they looked at me as this competition,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't help. And one of my leaders, actually, Bridget, who's one of my best friends, she was making the same kind of jewelry as me. She had the same kind of jewelry business. And she will tell you, I was the only person that helped her develop her craft and her skill, because I was not going to treat people how I was treated in return. And so that was a big thing for me. And I just truly believe that there's enough business to go around for everybody, because at the end of the day, people aren't buying your piece of jewelry. They're buying you.
Right. Yeah.
And you were like, nobody can be me. They can't. And I'm so grounded in my confidence and who I am that nobody could ever compete with that. Like, my only competition is me. So when I was making that and honestly reaching out to people and just asking for help, and, and people, they were rude. And then when I became on their radar, then it was all the cat fights and the nasty comments, or creating other accounts to go blast me and make me look bad or whatever. And I just wasn't, and earlier on, I probably did, I made some mistakes and probably was petty back to it. But then it got to the point where I realized it's not hurting my business,
Right.
because the people who are my tribe that stand with me, and support me and know my heart and who I am, they're going to continue to support me no matter what. So it didn't matter that there was all, a million other companies out there doing the same kind of stuff that I was doing. It did not impact me or my business at all. And so, that's why I've always wanted to help other people. And same thing with our beauty business, because at the end of the day, I want to see everybody win. I truly do. I really, truly do. I want to see everybody win. And if I can add value to somebody's life to maybe increase their sales or increase their growth of their team or whatever, then I did a good thing. And to me, that's success.
Yeah,
Because
I think
again, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about the relationships that you make, because I truly believe what you put out is going to come back tenfold. And if more women would adopt that, and they don't adopt that because women lack confidence. They do. They lack confidence. I grew up my whole life, my mom saying, Tia, you just intimidate women. No, I used to believe that. I used to try to shrink myself and be small and, not be so much of me. And every time I did that, it chiseled away the core of who God made me to be. And I just finally, it was really in my 40s that I kind of started blossoming into really who I am. I'm exactly the same person online as I am offline. Every single person will tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm I really truly am. And I just believe that there's enough business to go around. And the more you help other people, it's going to come back to you. You're going to be blessed even greater than you could ever even imagine. And I've lived it. I've literally lived that. And I'm walking proof that happens. And if more women would adopt that, and, I think that they would be much happier in life and be more successful too. But I don't think that, I'm intimidating. I am who I am. I am who God made me to be. They're intimidated, and that's the difference. So, I wasn't put on this earth to tiptoe around other women's insecurities or fears or whatever. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
Yep. Like I said in the beginning, the presence that somebody gives, you're like, ooh, will she like me? Will she want to talk with me? And then the minute you talk to them, you're like, okay, so cool. It's just the fear for some people who just aren't quite, like you said, aren't confident to just make that conversation happen and just being at that same level. And I think that's why your friendship and your persona is so powerful, because you are 100% you everywhere you're at. And I think I love that about you. I should have told you to bring your microphone. You could have sang us a little ditty.
I don't know. I think my husband, he's got it. I think he's got my car right now, but that would be fun. Maybe next time.
Yeah. He has got a microphone, karaoke microphone that she drives around with and sings in the kitchen with. And, and
sometimes I yell at bad drivers with it too.
But you bring so much joy and laughter and awareness. I think that's the awareness piece in all things, whether it's about diabetes or it's about mental health or it's about science of a product or it's about, pick any topic in the world and you will bring awareness to it. And I love that you are 100% you and, but you show up for people. And I think that that's super important, because I know for myself, sometimes you get so caught up in your own BS and, you think about people, but you don't reach out, or, but you show up for people. And I think that's a rare trait. And so I think
thank you.
You are a pretty amazing friend. And even though you're in Georgia and I don't see you very often, I feel very blessed that we can jump on a phone call or a FaceTime or chat on a message anytime. And I know that you would be there for me and I would be the same for you. So finding your
absolutely.
So important. I think it's so important for women to know that it's perfectly fine to have tribes all over the place. You can have a tribe at church, you can have a tribe at work, you can have a tribe of friends that you work with, but it's important to find your tribe. I think having a tribe of people who are going to lift you up and be there for you and push you to be a better person or have that true potential is so important. So,
but don't you think that like, as you get older, like you have tribes in all different areas of your life. Like I have some people that I know that I can talk to about the deep, heavy things, with my grief or depression or those kind of things. And then other people, are the fun ones that it's more, it's not maybe as deep, but they bring so many other amazing qualities to your life, the jokes when you need them, the pick me ups and those kind of things. So everybody, I think, serves a purpose in your life. And I think that's really important to recognize too, because but ultimately they fall under the umbrella of your tribe, right? But it's just that you've got different segments of the relationship with different people because they're different people,
Yep. They all push you in different ways, Yeah. You have your friends who are going to help you stay at bay, and your other ones that push you to be a little bit more fun. And I think we all need those different friends too. But I think as women, it is so important to have tribes of friends in all aspects of your life. Just like I was setting goals for the year, I want spiritual goals. I want, goals. And I think there was 12 different areas that I was trying to set goals in. And I could think of friends to put in every single one of those categories too, to help me grow, be better.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, when your kids are little, having female relationships is so much easier because you're at play dates, school functions, you're friends with the moms that your kids are friends with. And too, it's harder now that when you're older, but now I feel like I'm transitioning into different kind of friends because even though I still have 2 kids at home, 2 teenagers, I mean, we're kind of moving into that empty nest, losing my dad, my son getting married, big life events. It's like, wow. I mean, Brian said to me the other day, he goes, Tia, the train's not stopping. The train's not stopping. Like you don't get to go back and do a redo, right? But, for me personally, like struggling with that whole empty nest or the change, it's just like, I still to this day cannot go back and look at pictures when my kids were little. Like I'm not there. But then I also have other friends who are like, they are loving emptiness. Like they do not share my emotion, my feeling at all. Like they love it, which is great. But I take from that, like their perspective to kind of help me get through it because I am struggling with it, So, then I also have other friends who are also struggling with the kids getting older and things like that too. And so they all, provide great insight to what you're going through as well. And I think that's really important too.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Well, friend, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I know that you, are busy with lots of things in life. So it's great that you're able to take some time and visit with us and share your insights because you are amazing and everybody would be lucky to have a Tia in their tribe. So,
well, thank you. I'm so glad that you're in my tribe because you're one of my favorite people. And, and I think that's just so important to have people that are like-minded and stay connected. And, there's no competition. Like we just want to see each other succeed and level up. And to me, I think that is true success in finding your tribe. So thank you for being that for me.
Thank you. I love that. All right.